Now let's have a look at angles in a triangle. I've got 3 triangles on the board and I'm going to tell you something about them. Well, tell you. Let's have a look. I'm not telling you much here except that it's 3 sides. I've got no dashes, no angles, so we have to assume it's scalene. I've got a scalene triangle. Scalene has no sides the same, no angles the same. Now, what am I going to tell you here? With my double dashes, I've just now told you it's isosceles. Isosceles. An isosceles triangle is a triangle that has 2 sides the same and therefore 2 angles the same. Now, I quite often show this to my classes as a witch's hat, and I'm often drawing little faces underneath, and I show them that the angles covering the ears of this witch are the equal angles because the hat sits squarely on her head. So what am I showing you here? Well, I'm showing you here, dash, dash, dash. I've got an equilateral triangle. An equilateral triangle. I've got 3 sides the same and I've got 3 angles the same. Now you need to be able to read a diagram when you come to questions. So what can we read here? Well, we read it's scalene because we've got no dashes anywhere near. So I want to find x. Now what's the other information that I need to know about triangles? All the angles add up to 180 degrees. These add up to 180, these add up to 180, and these add up to 180. No matter what the triangle looked like, it adds up to 180. So imagine I've got a cake. I've got 180 degrees in a cake. I've given 80 to somebody in my classroom. I've given 30 to somebody in my classroom. What have I got left? Well, what I'm going to do is take my original cake, 180 degrees of it, and I'm going to work out that I've given the total amount away. What did I give out? 80 plus 30. Notice it's in brackets, and that tells me I do it first. So 180 minus 110. I gave 110 degrees of my cake away, leaving me with 70 degrees. So in fact, x is 70. Now, what do I know here from my diagram? I've got an isosceles triangle. So it sits nicely on top of a head. I've got 45 degrees there. So although it hasn't been told it's 45 degrees, I know that one there is 45 over her ears. Now, I know there's 180 degrees in a triangle. I've given away 45 degrees and another 45 degrees. So in fact, in total, I've given away 90 degrees. So y is 90 degrees. That y must be 90. So let's have a look at this one. What can you read from the diagram? Well, again, it's isosceles. And this time, I've got my poor old witch upside down. There she is. And I know that this angle here, A, what I've got to find, is also equal to that angle there. Let's call it A because they're the same. I can call them the same letter. They are both the same. Now, how do I work this one out? Well, I know I've got 180 degrees in a triangle or in my cake. Let's go back to cakes. I give away 120 degrees to somebody in my classroom and I share what's left between these 2 people here. So when I write that down, it's 180 minus 120. We could work out that middle stage of 60 degrees. And then I'm going to share that among these 2 angles here. So A is 60 divided by 2, which is 30 degrees. So these are 3 simple examples. Let's have a look at some more complicated ones. Now, I've got 2 questions here and we'll work through them slowly. Now, what does the diagram tell me? It tells me it's isosceles. Now, witch's hat, remember? I've got it coming this way, so I've got the head here. So I now know the C and the C here, there's a C here, that are the same, aren't they? C and C. Now, before I can find the C's, let's look at the B. The B is on a straight line. And how many degrees in a straight line? 180. So to get B, I do 180, I take away 150, and I get 30 degrees. Now, good practice is to put the 30 inside the diagram. It helps you see what's going on. So I've got 30 here, and I've got a C and a C. It's one of these sharing questions again. I've got 180 degrees, take off what I know, 30, and share the rest because they're the same. So C is 180 minus the 30. Why don't we do it really mathematically and divide by 2? Share the answer by 2. So what's 180 minus 30? Well, that's 150. Divide that by 2. Notice I keep the divide by 2 there because I haven't used it up. And you get 75 degrees. So they're both 75. Right, let's look at this one. Oh, a bit more algebra here. Now, I haven't got any numbers, but what I do know is they all add up to 180 degrees. So I'm going to make myself a little equation. So 4x, add that 3x, add that 3x, and that adds up to 180 degrees. So what have I got? Gather together and tidy up. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10x is 180 degrees. If I divide by 10 to go from 10x down to 1x, that is 18 degrees, because 180 divided by 10 is 18 degrees. Now, have I finished the question? Well, the question actually asked me not necessarily to find x, it's actually to find the missing angles. Well, angles it should be, angles. So, I've got a 3x and a 4x. Because they're the same, I only have to do 3x once. 3x, x is 18. So 3x is 3 lots of 18. And that gives you 54 degrees. So I know that angle is 54 and that angle is 54. So the last one, 4x, will be 4 times 18. And that is 72 degrees. So this one is 72. And there you go, angles in a triangle.